Hey there, it's Katie from Greenview Puppies, and today I'm going to show you what we keep in our whelping cart. All right, so I'm in the whelping room with little Miss Roxy. She's our sweet little cockapoo due in about 2 days. And I'm going to just show you what I like to have on hand and in my whelping cart accessible for when we deliver our puppies. All right, let's get into this. So as you can see behind me, I just have one of these rolly 3-tier metal carts that I like to keep close to my whelping box. I have my whelping box set up back here, ready for Roxy to go into labor at any time now. She's here at my feet. But you can see we have our box set up, we have our heat lamp, we have a camera, our pig rails are in, and some of her comfort items so that she feels comfortable to go in there. She came to us a few days ago. She is due in 2 days. So we're just giving her this safe space that she can get acclimated to and feel comfortable in. And we are monitoring temperature and all of that so we get an idea of when to expect these puppies, but we are in full-blown puppy watch mode. So with that said, I am preparing our cart, and I just want to show you a lot of the items that we like to keep on hand that I find are important. If you are a new breeder whelping for the first time, I hope you find this useful. Not all these things are an absolute must, but they're things that I have found really helpful to have, been really thankful when I've needed. And so these are just things that simply works for me. Some breeders probably have more, some probably think this is extra, but it works for me. I am somewhat seasoned. We're getting ready to deliver litter 11, 12, 13, and 14 over the next 9 weeks. So I do have some experience under my belt at this point, and yeah, I love it. We've had really great experiences, no emergencies so far. So I'm just gonna share what works for us. So a lot of things we like to keep in our cart would be, first off, and probably use the most, towels and pee pads. It won't be the cleanest process. I kind of have a tough stomach for it, so it doesn't bother me any, but I like to keep our space clean and the puppies dry. So I like to go, I have a stack of these in my cart ready to roll. I change these out under mom in between puppies just to keep everything as clean as possible and to keep my puppies warm and dry. That is really important, and your biggest thing that you're gonna need to be paying attention to in that first, especially the first few hours, but the first 2 weeks, it's really important to keep your puppies warm. So getting them warm and dry is a must. And so these things help with that. These are just flour sacks. You can buy them in bulk packs. And I use these to rub down and dry off the puppies in between. And they're easy to bleach, and you have them for the next time around eventually. They're cheap enough, I can throw them away when they're gross. So lots of both. With that said, trash bags, either for laundry or trash, you'll have a lot of both. So have that on your cart as well. I keep an outlet plug thing by my whelping box. This is what I use for my light, my camera, my phone, because you also want a phone charger. I don't have that here, but having a phone charger is really nice because 9 times out of 10, dogs go into labor in the middle of the night. And I don't know about you, but I like to charge my phone while I sleep. And so if I'm delivering puppies at 1 o'clock in the morning, my phone's not likely charged. So having that on hand because I want to listen to music or keep track of things or take pictures during the process is important to me. I like having music through the process for calming her down. If she's ever anxious, we'll do like a soothing kind of type spa style music, right? Or if I need a little pep because I'm tired and this is taking forever, I can put something on. So nice to have. Also in my cart, for cleanliness purposes, a box of gloves. I like to change these out in between puppies. I also keep water wipes in my cart. I don't even have babies and toddlers anymore, but let me tell you, these things are all over my house or in my car because they are used for everything and they're great. So just cleaning up quick messes or what have you, love them. A scale. Why might you ask, do I have a food scale in my whelping cart? Because those puppies' weights are super important for you to monitor over those first few days especially, but then continuing to weigh them the first 2 weeks every day is pretty critical to making sure that they're all thriving and doing well. So the first 2-3 days, I'm weighing them morning and night and making sure mom's milk is coming in and they're all getting some. So if I have a puppy that's not gaining weight, then I know I need to either intervene with some type of colostrum supplement, or I need to either tube feed or bottle feed, which are all things I also have on hand. Supplies for both of those. I've needed it. I've had to use it. I'm glad I had it. If you don't have it on hand, at least know where to get it. So if you run into that situation, you can get it quickly. But having puppy formula, bottle feeding and tube feeding things are great. Bottle feeding's not excellent for that first few days because they can aspirate. So I like tube feeding better. That can feel a little intimidating. Maybe sometime I'll do a video on that, but there's plenty of videos online on how to tube feed. It's really not as scary as you think, but I know it's very intimidating to those who do it the first time. Let's see. Breeder's Edge carries a few things that I really like. This is Nurture Mate and this is Oral Cow Plus. These are great. I've used these with almost every litter, or at least this one anyway. The Oral Cow Plus is a calcium supplement, and this is great after the first puppy is born to use then in between each puppy. And what this does is you give this to mama and it helps to keep her contractions strong and consistent so that we don't have any stalled out labors. And then the Nurture Mate is great if you have a puppy that's kind of lethargic and not perking up. It'll give them a little boost to help them be able to nurse for the first time, which then usually kicks them into gear. Also can be supplemented over the first, week or so if needed, if you have a puppy not gaining and you need extra calories in their system. I like to have this. Some of the implements we use would be medical scissors and a hemostat, and then the little suction bulb. This is the ear one. I like this better because it's smaller for their little nose and their mouth. But this just helps to get the gunk out when they come out. Mom can do that by licking them, but I just always like to make sure so they're not aspirating anything. And then this is to cut the cords. I try to cut the cords when I can because sometimes mom will cut, or I should say chew, the cord too short. When that happens, you have a lot of bleeding. And that's where this comes in. This is my styptic powder. I have used this 2 or 3 times and I'm so glad I've had it. For the couple bucks it costs you to have it on hand, it is so worth it because I've had puppies that bled a ton, and this with a little pinch of it and some pressure for a few minutes will stop that bleeding and then puppy will be fine. So it's just smart in my opinion to have on hand. Some petroleum jelly and hold on. A pet thermometer. These are not something I use often, but if I feel like mom might be having some issues or struggling, it's important to be monitoring her temperature because that's usually a good sign something's going wrong if her temperature goes up and you want to get your vet involved. So having those things is super important, but also monitoring mom the week leading up to labor is great because if you see a significant 2 to 3 degree drop, you're going to have puppies anywhere from 12 to 24 hours from that temp drop. So this is really nice just for planning your day's sake. Tail wrap and scissors is something some breeders like to use to keep your dog's tail clean. If you just wrap it up, it tends to be a messy process. This gets in the way more than it helps me, I feel like, but it's something to consider. I have it because I've tried it. I wouldn't buy it again. I keep iodine and alcohol pads that I can use for umbilical or any kind of wound. That's not usually a common thing, but I have them. And then also I use them to clean the implements in between using them on the puppies. Identification collars. I have an assortment of colors here, but these are just little adjustable bands. They have this little come on. They have this little sliding lock on them, so you can adjust this to the size you need for your puppies. And this just helps you to like put this on them after you've gotten them clean and dried and whatever, and you can keep track then of each puppy in their birth order and for their weight, tracking weight and that kind of thing. So if you have a lot of puppies that look alike, this is really nice to have, quite handy. And I like those because they're super cheap and you can change them out as they get disgusting, and then they grow with the puppy. So you just want to make sure you're monitoring that every day, checking to make sure that doesn't get tight because puppies grow fast. With keeping track of weight and collars and all the colors, I keep a paper and a clipboard and pen in my cart so that I can be making notes as puppies are born. It's super important to keep track of the times your puppies are born, so you know if you need to get a vet involved if there's a really long gap in between puppies. If you're hitting that 2-hour mark, it's time to call the vet because there might be something going on. If you've already tried walking your dog around, the calcium's been given to her, and the contractions seem to have stalled out and you know there's more puppies, consult your vet. But this is just really important to keep track of all those things. And then I take this and put it in my nice spreadsheet, but just for delivery because I'm not going to be focused on keeping things looking nice. This is how I like to do it. A few things for myself. I keep hand sanitizer on hand for obvious reasons, chapstick, and a few things for my hair because I do not like having to lean over and try to help a dog and my hair's in my face and my hands are a mess and I can't get the hair out of my face. It's just annoying. So just something I like to have on hand, and you might too. And since dogs like to go into labor in the middle of the night, I'm always hungry. And so this, having a good snack, especially protein-based, is a really good idea, just so you're not like starving and having to leave your dog in the middle of labor, which will then likely freak out if it's attached to you well. And then you're going to have to deal calming down a dog because you wanted to go get a snack. I just like having them. And then my water. Both great things to have when you are whelping because it can take a long time. Hopefully not, but you never know. Something that I have used and really liked having is this kit called One Puff. It is an aspirator and resuscitator. I've only needed to use this once, helping a friend's dog deliver, and it just helps to pull all the junk out of them and help kickstart them if they're struggling when they're first born. So with that being said, I think that kind of covers the majority of the things that I like to have on hand that works well for me. I hope you found this helpful. I will try to link my Amazon list that a lot of this stuff you can find there or similar items anyway. But yeah, just a few other tips. Things I forgot to mention. Have a watch ready to roll. I'm going to tell you right now that checking your phone and stuff is not going to be ideal for times when you're in the middle of a messy situation. So having a watch is really great for that quick glance of what time so you can jot that down for your records. The other thing I would really recommend having would be something set up that you can transport your puppies safely and by keeping them warm if you're in an emergency situation. So I keep an incubator that plugs into my car, but if you don't have that, having a inverter for your car that you can plug in a heating pad or something that you can put in a box with blankets to keep puppies warm in the case of emergency is a really good idea. Having those emergency numbers on hand as well would be very important in a situation where you have a mom stalled labor or needing an emergency C-section or a puppy that's really struggling. The last thing you want to do is waste time by trying to figure out where you're going and who to call. So having that information on hand is really critical in those situations. So those are just some other things to keep in mind and to have prepared going into this whelping experience. And hopefully my next video is updating you guys on the litter that we would have just whelped. Take care.